Well, friends, welcome back to the channel. As we can see, the Ryzen 7 9850X3D is here. It's been launched. Well, not launched, but the embargo has been lifted and reviewers are doing multiple testing and everything else, but this is what we learned. AMD is calling it the fastest gaming CPU on the planet, believe it or not. On paper, it looks like a natural evolution of higher clocks, Zen 5 improvements, and the same massive 3D V-cache that it's been dominating the gaming benchmarks for years. But the real reason, well, the real question, isn't whether it's fast. The real question is whether, any of this is actually mattering for you. The person building or upgrading a gaming PC in 2026. Because once you dig into the numbers, the stories get a lot more interesting. Let's start with what AMD wants you to see. The 9850X3D boost up to 3.6, but no, 5.6 gigahertz, which is a 400 megahertz jump over the 9800X3D. This still carries both processors, both CPUs still carry 104 megabytes of total cache. And it still leans heavily on the magic of X3D to push gaming performance beyond what raw clock speed alone can do. And yes, it's almost every gaming benchmark out there. This chip sits at the top. It wins. It's the fastest gaming CPU you can buy today for a price of $499. But here's the part AMD doesn't highlight. The actual uplift over the 9800X3D is tiny between the two. We're talking 3, maybe 7% depending on the game. In some titles, the difference is so small, you'll need a benchmark overlay just to notice it, believe it or not. And when you're paying a premium price for a new flagship that is not exactly the kind of generational leap people expect, it's tough. It really is. And it gets even more complicated when you look at the power behavior. Reviewers are seeing noticeably higher power draws in games, in some cases up to 30%, more than the 9800X3D. That's a big jump for a chip that only gets a few more frames and is a little faster. It's still efficient compared to Intel's high-end parts, but compared to AMD's own previous generation, it's kind of a step backwards. Then there's productivity performance. This is where things get weird. In multi-core workloads, the 9850X3D can actually fall behind the 9800X3D. Not by a huge margin, but enough to raise eyebrows. And it makes sense. The thermals and power constraints that make the 3D V-cache so good for gaming also limits how hard the chip can push all cores at once. So if you're someone who games, but also edits, renders, or streams like myself, on the same machine, the 9850X3D isn't the slam dunk upgrade AMD wants you to believe it to be. But here's where the chip does shine. Memory sensitivity. Just like a previous X3D parts, the 9850X3D barely cares about RAM speed. You can run slower DDR5 and still get almost the same gaming performance as someone running a high-end kit. For budget-conscious builders, that's a real advantage. It means you can put more money into your GPU without worrying about losing FPS because your RAM isn't tuned to the moon. They did a lot there. So where does that leave us? That's a big question. The Ryzen 7 9850X3D is the fastest gaming CPU in the world. That part is true. But the difference between the fastest and practicality, let's just say practically the same, is razor thin. If you already own a 7800X3D or a 9800X3D, this is not an upgrade. Guys, it's not. If you're building a brand new system and you want the absolute best gaming performance money can buy, then sure, this chip delivers. I mean, the CPU is going to deliver regardless, and it's going to launch regardless. But people understand, the value just isn't there. I mean, not for $499. And that's the real story. AMD didn't release this chip to revolutionize gaming performance. They released it to stay on top of the charts, to keep the crown, to make sure every benchmark graph still has an AMD bar at the top. And they succeeded, but only technically. Before you spend $500 chasing a few frames, ask yourself what you actually want out of your build. What do you actually want? Because the truth is, the 9850X3D is a great CPU. It's just not a meaningful upgrade for most gamers. If you want the best, it's here. If you want the best value, look one generation back. And if you want the best overall experience, focus on your GPU, your monitor, and the games you actually play, not the marketing slides, because you can't play those as a game. Well, you could, but you know. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comments. Would you buy the 9850X3D, or is AMD just refreshing for hype at this point? And that's the question. I'm curious to know how many of you actually see this as a worthwhile upgrade. I really want to know. So leave your comments on the video, and if you made it to the end of this one and you enjoyed the video, as always, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. Don't forget about the notification bell so you know when I post the next video or live stream. Until the next time and the next video, you know it is, and we'll see you on the next one.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.